All right. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we are watching a patched series, a best of 3 between Greenert in the bottom left side of the map and Special in the top right on a kind of mod that just changes a ton of stuff. And this one's actually designed by Greenert, who's about a 5.5k high Grandmaster Terran player. And he's going to be playing it Special, of course. Very, very top, pro Terran player. Historically, he's going to be off-racing Protoss in this series. Now, in this patch, everything's changed. As you can see, they start with 8 workers. Not only that, we've got mineral patches that start with 1,600 minerals rather than 1,800 on these close patches. And these far patches, which were previously 900 minerals, they start with 1,400 minerals. So the overall base has more minerals, but more importantly, it doesn't... You know how normally the base for these far away patches mine out? At about 8.5 minutes. In this game, they're going to last a lot longer, and the whole base is going to mine out at kind of a similar timing, closer to, I would guess, 13 minutes, something like that, 13 minutes, something like that. So that's actually going to be a really cool change to make sure players who are staying on one base or 2 bases, whatever, their bases aren't running out and giving that double-edged sword. And this has been one of the big economic problems that I feel has set in more than ever, where when it comes to the strategy of when and if to expand, there's very limited variation compared to previous economic models before Legacy of the Void, because you have bases that just, if you don't expand, even if you're in this down and dirty, scrappy game, both players tend to get forced towards either expand or you need to kill the opponent very quickly, because if you don't, your base runs out of resources. So not only does your opponent maybe potentially get an extra base on you and get a few more workers mining, which is already a great advantage for them playing economic, but then your base runs out of half of the minerals and you're just so far behind and you can't do anything anymore. And I think that's one of the things which always incentivizes players to expand very quickly, build giant mineral incomes while staying on basic units, rather than teching up. And it encourages people to be very mineral focused, right? And that's really massive, because if you're really mineral focused, you're just taking more expansions, you're building basic units to protect them, and it does often find that we are butting up against a 200 supply cap way too early in the game, and it does limit some of the variety. Now, Special is obviously complaining around and going, he's like, dude, this is so different. The timings are weird. Remember, guys, because you start with only 8 workers, the Nexus and Command Center, he's made it so they give 13 supply. I would probably make it even harsher and make it 12 supply, and I would just be like, it's fine. You'll hit a small supply block if you want to keep on continually building workers, or you take a gap in workers, start the depot or the pylon, and then restart workers. There's a lot of people in StarCraft 2 who are like, oh, but that feels awkward. You should be able to just build workers nonstop without getting supply blocked if you do your build properly. I'm always just kind of like, if you want, sure. I just don't think that needs to be a hard and fast thing. And for me, one of the other problems that happens with players constantly expanding that I've noticed is because you get 15 supply for free with a Nexus or a Command Center, 6 supply with a hatchery in the current 12-worker version of the game, it just gives you such a huge incentive to keep expanding, because when you get that expansion, you're essentially getting 2 depots or pylons for free with it. And it just ends up becoming this game where you're like, well, I might as well do this. Now, as you can see, guys, WARPGATE has been removed. Instead, we have Warp Efficiency. And what this upgrade does is that actually it allows your units to build faster out of the gateways. But they still have to build like normal and rally out. So there's no WARPGATE in this version of the game, which I think is really cool to experiment with and try it out, because as a result, there are big bonuses. These adepts are frightening. Why? 23 damage, not 22. You might think 1 extra damage. What's the difference? Same with oracles as well in this patch. 23 damage versus light, which means they 2-shot Marines, they 2-shot SCVs. Very scary in the early game for Terran. It's incredibly scary, in fact. So there is absolutely a bunch of cool stuff in here that does this. And you can see there's even like an upgrade on the Stalker phase reactor that they can get later on that allows Stalker's blink to restore 40 shields over 5 seconds. So there's like a bunch of cool upgrades and bonuses. And look at this, the Adept and the Stalker coming in doing some great damage. They do take out a Marine or 2, and they're just being a real big nuisance. And you can see kind of how scared Terran is of this version of gateway units. But on the flip side, they can't warp in on your side of the map. So yes, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're more intimidating, but they're not going to be making 4 Stalkers inside your main off a Warp Prism, or 4, 6 Charge Zealots early on, or anything like that. So I'm really curious to see how this plays. I don't know if this is better. I don't know if this is worse. I'm sure there's ups and downs, as with any change. But I'm all here for just things that add variety right now and just change up the flow of the game. SCV's transfer down there a bit early. These 6 Marines should be able to push this back now. He's going to go after it. Needs to get rid of the Adept as the priority. The Adept is such a big damage dealer now, and he is going to try and go forwards. Cyclone, ooh, I think it already used its lock-on on the Adept. And that Stalker and Adept do finally go down. But a good delay there. So Greenert got heavily delayed. He's going to go for concealment. which is an upgrade on the tech lab, which allows Widow Mines to remain invisible while reloading. So you don't need an armory. You don't need to get an armory and then make drilling claws. With his way of doing it, you can just make this upgrade 1 minute. I think it only costs like 50/50 as well. He's also got a bunch of other cool upgrades like Sweep Fire Protocol, allows the Hellion to attack while moving. Siege tanks by default can attack while moving as well. So if you're running around with unsieged tanks, they can move and shoot. So it's interesting to see the way the designs are going to change. I don't know if the Cyclone changed at all. That regular Cyclone attack seems... I think that's more damage than it normally does. I could be wrong. Not too sure if the Cyclones changed, but obviously there's so many changes, I'm not going to remember all of them. Probe does go down, Pylon falls, Cyclone and Marines hanging out right now. Stalker's doing some good jobs of just volleying, but very low on units right now with just 2 gates and a robo, and no Immortal got built special. Has he been too greedy here? A second Cyclone does arrive. Unfortunate that the Cyclone locked onto the Probe, though. That is a little unfortunate. If the Stalkers come forward, the Cyclones will absolutely chew through them. These Cyclones do seem maybe a little slower than the normal Cyclone. I'm not quite sure. They aren't able to get in range. Now that there's 2 more Stalkers, has Greenert stayed too long? I think he has, guys. I think he should have locked onto the base and ran away, or he should have committed to the Stalkers earlier. But now he's kind of half and halved it, and I think Special's getting away with being a very greedy boy. Yeah, the Marines kill a lot of Stalkers. He trades not absolutely appallingly bad, Greenert, but I'd say it's not a good trade either. Luckily for him, in the panic, somehow Special has accidentally rallied probes to the Terran side of the map. When's he gonna realize? Oh no. It's so funny as well, because your expansions end up coming up in a bit later. They give you a bit less supply. You could see the build-up is a little bit slow, but guys, it's 6.5 minutes. We've already seen a lot happen in this game. So this is one of the reasons I want to talk about the 8 worker start and why it's so good. People think it's massive. 8 workers so slow. That's only 2 workers off from 6. What you don't realize is 8 down from 12 is only a 25% reduction, right? 33%. Sorry, I'm not good with numbers, am I? It is a 33% reduction, but it's not that crazy. Like it really doesn't change all that much. Don't get me wrong, 6 workers can be a little bit of a slow start, but it's really good because it breaks up the builds and timings, lets people kind of relearn different build orders. More importantly, it just kind of allows the players to have a bit more time to get work done in these early small-scale skirmishing fights. And I just think it's going to be really fascinating if we try something like this on the ladder as a huge shakeup, because you're suddenly going to allow people who are a little bit more intuitive rather than memorization focused to catch back up a little bit. But you're also just going to slow the pace of the game down, so it's harder to race to that later stage. Oh, the medevac flew through the Stalkers. Big mistake there, guys. We've got magnetic hull, guys. That's the upgrade which allows medevacs to be picked up by siege tanks. Medevacs to pick up siege tanks while they're in siege mode. That's right. He's brought back the tank evac, gated behind an upgrade. Oh, with the Widow Mines not one-shotting probes? Oh, right. Yeah, so sorry. The Widow Mine change. I forgot about the Widow Mine change. So the Widow Mine, I think it does bigger AoE, and does massive direct target damage, but it also, it does less splash damage. As you can see, it doesn't one-shot probes or anything like that. Sorry, guys. Should have mentioned that. There's so many things I've been talking about and processing here. We haven't even talked about that one, so... Ooh, Rush Guard shielding's on the way, guys. This improves Zealot charge. It's from the Twilight. To add +3 shield armor after charging for 3.5 seconds. These Zealots will actually get a big boost after charging once that upgrade's finished for a few seconds. It'll allow those 50 shields just to withstand quite a few more Marine Marauder hits. Should help out a fair little bit. I mean, it's 3.5 seconds. It's only on the shields. It's not on their hit points. If it was on their hit points as well, that 3.5 armor would be, I think, crazy. Or 3 armor for 3.5, right? Yeah, 3 armor for 3.5. +1 attacks on the way here for the Protoss. I think the Forge also has a fortified framework upgrade later on. You need a fleet beacon, and then it can add +2 armor to photon cannons. Haven't seen that one in action yet. Stalker's running forward special. Oh, Greenert just not having enough units on the map. That was a little sloppy for him. He should not have been out there with so few units. Gets punished pretty hard. That being said, his macro is not bad at all. He's got a Raven. I'm not sure how the Raven's changed in this patch. Oh, what is that? Analyze weakness. All melee and ranged attacks against analyze weakness do 3 bonus damage. Effect lasts as long as the Raven remains locked onto the target. Oh, so it can lock onto targets, and it can just lock onto a target, then lock onto another one, and those units will take bonus damage. Oh, that's cool. It's also got Ignite Afterburners. Increases the medevac's movement speed for 6 seconds. Okay, I think it's just the tooltip is... So the Raven also has Ignite Afterburners, the same ability as the medevac. Interesting. And it's just got repair a friendly mechanical target. Also, the Raven's like a proper just support unit. It doesn't even have that many active spells. It just uses its analyze weakness. It keeps targeting units. And other than that, it just chills out and it just slowly repairs your mech units. Oh, wow. So the Raven's a lot more of a passive unit. He blasts through Special here. Special has a lot of Zealots coming in for a counterattack, though. He's also got, guys, Warp Prism doesn't have Warp in, but it has 16 cargo space, which means it can carry 8 Zealots. That's right, 8 Zealots inside a Warp Prism dropping there. But they do drop a bit more gradually rather than warping in 8 all at once. Uh-oh. Can he hold on there? Meanwhile, Zealots running in the third. Zealots in the main base as well. Things are getting hectic. This army's still doing decently on the front, but remember, Special has a big economy right now. Tanks are sieged up there. They are trying to fire on these Stalkers. The Stalkers are starting to go down. The tanks are still sieged. The problem is the production. The Zealots are on top, man. Bio does defend the third base. Can he defend the main, though? He's going to try and drop over here and try to regroup some units in the base. This army, it looks like, is finally going to go down. And remember, those Zealots, as they charge, guys, they get that big plus 3.5 shield bonus, or plus 3 shield armor, and it's so impactful against the Marine Marauder. It's actually frighteningly good. Because this Marine Marauder with plus 1 attack, just suddenly they're like, oh, we're not doing damage. Like, you really need, like, EMPs or maybe Widow Mines or something to actually get rid of the shields of those Zealots. Once the Zealot shields are gone, they die. But while the shields are up, it's absolutely crazy. Marine Marauder trying to micro down here. He has, by the way, there's another cute change. The armory can double upgrade, guys. So you don't need to build a second armory. With Terran, you can make upgrades 2 at a time off the armory if he gets to that point. I think engineering bay upgrades are pretty much the same. The armory does cost a bit more gas as well. It's back up to 100 gas for that armory. Now, Special, I think with his economy should be kind of scot-free now, out of trouble. He's got Rush Guard shielding. He's got the warp efficiency. I think there's another Cybercore upgrade. Hyper Warp Conduit reduces the cooldown of the pylon recall by 65 seconds. Wait, pylons have recall? Oh, pylon. Recall units owned by the player in the target area to the Nexus. Wait, why does the pylon have recall? That's so funny. I'm not sure why he changed it from the Nexus to the pylon that casts it. Oh, it's so you can't... I guess it's just so there's less abilities conflicting on the Nexus or something like that. It's easier to snipe it to cancel the recall. Oh, okay. So if you run in a base, you can actually like focus the pylon that they're trying to recall onto. Interesting. Oh, that's so cool. He's building a few more Ravens right now. The Ravens apparently can build out of the reactive starport also. I assume they cost a little bit less. Here we go. You can see they're using a bit of healing on the SCVs as well. SCVs are mechanical, remember? But these Zealots are getting in, causing some damage. This army's going to go forward. Special's army is bigger than Greenert's right now. If he holds this push, I think he can shut him down. The Widow Mines guys do 180 damage to their target and only 30 splash damage. So they do massive single target damage, but 10 less splash damage. So the Widow Mine's still good for one-shotting big boys, decent splash damage, but they're not going to be one-shotting probes and drones, which is the whole point of that change, to make the Widow Mine a less frustrating harassment unit, which I think is a pretty good call. Does look like Special's got this game in the bag, though. It's cool to see him just rallying out of the gateways, guys. No warp gate required here. It's freaking awesome. I'm actually, it's so different. I don't know. I'm so curious to see how this plays out. I'm not surprised that Special's winning, even though Greenert's like a very solid high GM. Special's off race got really good over the last few years. Like, if you go back 3 or 4 years, I was always making fun of Special because he literally had no idea how to play Zerg or Protoss. But he's off-raced a lot over the last couple years, and he's actually gotten really good with his Protoss, especially his Zerg's not bad either. It does take game 1. All right, guys. Going into game 2. Greenert's in the bottom left side of the map there. Special's on the top right. He says, I have less probes now. Nope, it's the exact same as the last game. He just literally didn't even notice. It's the same. It's 8. Oh, it is actually 12. Wait, check out this. Nexus gives 12. Command Center gives 13. Supply. Oh, is that because depots actually take a lot longer? Pylons only take 18 seconds to build. Overlords take 18. Terran, everyone hates Terran. Blizzard does. So depots take 21 seconds. So they have to start their depot a little bit earlier, usually to not get supply block. But that's interesting. I always assumed we'd make the Nexus and the Command Center the same, because in Heart of the Swarm, Wings of Liberty, they both gave 10 supply, and in Legacy of the Void, they gave 15, or give 15 right now. So I'll have to ask Greenert about this. If anyone in chat, I know Patches is in chat, probably he's talked to Greenert a bit since you guys have shared a few things in the mods that you guys are separately making. But yeah. So Gateway goes down here on 14 supply. Barracks goes down on 13. And to start a gas right after as well. Now, when you start with less workers, delaying the gas is actually way more viable because getting a gas early is so expensive. It's actually so expensive. Like, this is crazy expensive to go for the gas. And you might be, I just want to hit this home. If you guys are kind of in the current StarCraft 2 scene, you might not realize that gas is not a choice very much. It's a very cheap decision to just always take the gas. Why is it that decision? It's because you are going to very quickly be at 16 workers on minerals either way. Even if you take the gas early, you give up a tiny bit of mining time. You'll see here, it's going to delay a lot longer. Now, he's going to go orbital. The problem is now by the time you go the orbital, you're only at 12 workers out of 16, right? Whereas the 12 workers start, by the time you get to the point where the barracks is finishing, going for the orbital, even if you've put on gas, you still end up doing that. Now you see Greenert, yeah, he's literally getting a Reaper, and he's pulling 2 workers off gas, and he wants to go for the command center. It's interesting. It's so fascinating to see just how much that 8 worker change up does change the opening. And it's always funny because people always say like, oh, but it just slows down the start. You just have to wait longer before you make any decisions. And that's just never the case because the problem is like, essentially it's just, hey, the more you slow down the start, there are more decisions to make that just differentiate things a lot. Now, obviously, I made a video a while back. People were saying, well, why don't we just make it 1 worker then? Then there'd be so much extra decision making. And the thing is, there would be. But obviously, I actually got my friend to make a mod and then played a game on 1 worker. And it was actually a really good game. But obviously, the only reason the early game was entertaining is because I was shit-talking the audience the whole time while over-microing every single worker, trying to make them mine as fast as they could and talking about how entertaining and how much skill expression there was. Obviously, that was a meme. Like, you know, obviously you need to balance, okay, let's not make the early game too slow. But you can look at this and go, okay, like, how much slower are we behind? Is it 20% slower? Will the games on average be 20% longer? I don't know if that really translates. Yeah, I actually think there'll be definitely in pro play less games that drag out to end game with these changes. Like, I think Serral Classic would on average be much shorter if you do these sorts of changes, right? Because I think there'd be more room for the players to like finish it in the mid game and that sort of stuff before the maxed out tech and the kind of late game stalemate units come into play. But obviously you'd have to see in action. I think on average game duration would go up a few minutes if you go 8 workers rather than 12. I just don't think it would be like a lot, right? I think it would be maybe average game goes from 12 minutes to like 14. I think it would be something like that. All right, Reaper's going to go for a little bit of a circle here. Going to get 1 more probe if he targets it, but yeah, you're going to go down. Should definitely target that. It is a Robo first opening. Reaper does go down. Starport's coming in behind for Greenert. He's down about 8 workers, not unfamiliar for this matchup. Does need to keep up that SCV production. You can see the players are actually doing a really good job of not getting supply blocked, which I'm impressed by. When we got Hero and Dark to play on an 8 worker mod, they were both supply blocked the entire game. Like, they just could not figure it out. And they were literally supply blocked at the very start multiple times. Like, they could not figure out the timing of their first Overlord and Pylon across a best of 5. It was wild. I was like, this is actually like, it just shows that they've been on the same version of StarCraft 2 for so long that they like were actually like, it just felt so alien, you know. That was so in that certain way of doing things that it was going to be hard for them to break out. But I'm actually impressed Special has broken out of it so quickly. He's been really good. Built another Pylon right on time. This is actually a great play for him. Now, he's of course gone quick Robo. He's going to build a Prism nice and early. He's got an Observer out here. Siege Tank looks like maybe accidentally rallied up to the middle of the map. Second tank's on the way as well. Medevac coming out. Second barracks will go down for Greenert. Curious to see how this goes. The Observer has 60 total hit points and shields. Did he add more, guys? Because I feel like Widowmine Splash was 40 before, right? Interesting. Actually, isn't it more than this in the live version of the game? Because they can survive a corrosive bile. I think they have 10 more shields in the current version of StarCraft 2. Because I remember they made it so they could survive a corrosive bile. And could survive, like, Widowmine Splash and stuff like that. Oh, Widowmines do bonus damage against shields. That's why the Widowmines survive now. Right, yeah. That's why they had to put it over 60. That's true. Tanks and Marines moving to the left side. Ooh, he's gonna siege. He's gonna siege. Oh, he's gonna siege right there. Colossus is almost out, though. Can Special get the Colossus out? I do not know. Observer's coming forward. Raven is going to arrive at the front. It's got that spell that it's casting, allowing guys to do a bit of bonus damage. Oh, the Prism! The Colossus is so good. He's got to spread these Marines. The tanks need to target that Colossus. Needs to target that Colossus every time it drops down. But those Stalkers are getting hammered. He needs to drop the Colossus on the tanks and then target the Marines. Problem is, it's going to be tough to do. And look, oh, it can even do the this analyze weakness on buildings, the Raven. Does that on the Prism there. Kind of cool that you just leave it on autocast. It's just going to keep on adding that bonus damage to whatever's in front of you. It's actually very cool, man. Third command center, double engineering bay goes down as well as extra barracks. Looks like a pretty simple push here. I am a little surprised Special wasn't ready for this. Like, he had an observer out on the map, but I guess he just missed the move out. Because I feel like he should have intercepted this push out of the base, pulled probes and just jumped on it, but I think he was so focused on getting his Colossus out, maybe, and that's what ended up costing him. That being said, he will eventually hold on. Oh, drops in minimum firing range and does clean it up. 2 Colossus survive. I actually thought that was going to be way worse. I thought that was going to snowball. As it is, though, no third started for him. Third base almost finished for Greenert. Greenert's going to be going for the upgrade soon, all this sort of stuff. He's already building Vikings as well, which is fascinating. Now, the Raven, guys, how much does this Raven cost? I think we can see it, right, on this overlay? I can only see it when he's got a gap in production, because right now it's not going to show me the command card down here. But I think when these guys finish building, I think it'll show me the units down here. That's why I picked this overlay to cast this, so I could hover over things. Oh, it's not showing me. Ah, well, only shows abilities, I guess. Good thing the Vikings are out to deal with this Colossus. Oh, it gets hammered. That Prism, remember, the Prism has extra hit points and shields. It only costs 200 minerals, guys. But it actually, when it phases, it actually has a pylon-sized power field, which I guess you could just use for building buildings, cannons, that sort of stuff, since the Warp Gate doesn't exist. Ooh, Plasma Igniters is coming in, guys. Gives the Hellions plus 11 damage versus shields, and plus 12 versus shields when it's in Hellbat form. So that's actually really cool. Just because Mech and Hellions are so weak against Protoss, in general, they're more of an anti-Zergling unit. It just kind of gives them that ability to have some utility in the late game if you bother getting this upgrade off of that Tech Lab factory. We do see a scan comes in, sees the thirds on the way, sees that the Protoss army is mighty small with 1-1 upgrades, Vikings, tanks, Raven. I think getting on the front is a really good idea. If you can siege these tanks here, you can kind of just slow push this angle while upgrading behind it and going for maybe 2-2 as well. Tanks, Vikings, Marines, and Ravens hanging on out. Colossus and Mortal Zealot Stalker trying to pull back a little bit. Tanks shifting forward with this Bio-Viking force. I wonder if he elevates. No, he's not going to elevate. He's just shoving. He's shoving. Bit of a crazy choice. Charge is done, but there's only one Colossus. He's just able to bully him. Storm's not ready yet. Storm's almost here, guys. Storm's going to come in. I don't think Storm has changed. Oh, yes, it has. 100 damage. It's up 20 damage, but it lasts a lot longer. So it's lower damage per second, but it lasts 5.72 seconds. So it's going to be an amazing zoning spell. You can see it does way less damage there in terms of sudden impact, but it's in a... Look how long that storm lasted. Oh my gosh. Dude, good hold. Good hold by Special. I don't know if it matters because his third base still went down. Great army versus army for him, though. And that's so cool, guys. So in this version, Storm is way less brutal. But it's such a massive AoE zoning tool. You can, like, zone people out so well. So it's both better and worse. And that's what a lot of good changes do in StarCraft, right? You nerf something in one way, but you buff it in another way. Look at that. Look how much time you have to spread around that. You've really got to respect it as a zoning tool. EMP is totally different, by the way. We'll talk about Ghost in a second since the Ghost Academy's coming up, but I think Greenert might be able to just overwhelm him. Oh my gosh. Okay, Marines still do go down to that storm pretty quickly, but you can see the Raven and the tank were only very lightly taking damage from it. It's continuing the fighting. Is Greenert. Greenert's building 3 Hellbats at a time with that Plasma Igniters upgrade. I'd love to see the medevacs pick up and boost this stuff home. Special's going to chase him all the way back. Another army coming forward. Quite a few of these guys do go down. But I think with 2-2 upgrades on the way against the guys just started +1 armor. He's going to go for Rush Guard shielding. Doesn't have that Zealot charge shield just yet. That's kind of cool. Now, Ghosts, guys. Greenert's Ghost changes, I think that'll be a bit controversial for most of you. I think, actually, do you guys know, is it 3 or 2 supply for him? I'm not quite sure. You guys, if someone could fact check that, let me know. 4 Zealot drop going down the left. 4 Zealot drop going down the left. Storm still coming in on the front. Special trying to find some damage, but the Vikings are tracking it. That Prism's going to get chased down. Is it, though? Greenert, F2's back to the front. That's a problem. Or at least the Vikings pulled to the front, I should say. Bio's going to pull up into that base. Upgrade advantage does go towards Terran. He's got to watch out, though. Another Storm's going to come in. Oh, my gosh. He's not looking. He's not looking. Storm, if you sit in it, it does even more damage if you don't move out of it, remember. So the Ghost is still 3 supply, guys. And some people go, oh, what the hell does Greenert hate Terran? No, guys. It has 7 range. It does 20 flat damage rather than 10 plus 10. So rather than having to only do bonus damage against light units, it does 22 damage right now to every unit. Archons, Immortals, whatever. Still has 100 hit points. It has 7 range, and it's insane. Its Smite does 170 damage, the old damage, and it cannot be cancelled by damage anymore. But it costs a bit more energy, 75. He's also got Ultrasonic Pulse, which is like an AoE EMP / mana drain. So basically, Ultrasonic Pulse, you place it, and it's kind of like the Storm, and it drains shields and energy at 20 per second over 6 seconds. So it's like a zoning energy drain tool. So they're no longer very good at removing, that's not very useful, really, against enemy spellcasters, right? It helps mostly against shields. You see, there it is. That's the Ultrasonic Pulse. Knocks 20 shields or energy off the enemy a second. And they have Interference Matrix as well. Interference Matrix has been removed from the Raven, put on the Ghost, much like the Ghost in StarCraft 1, where it can lock down units with that Matrix. I think this is a really cool Ghost design. It's frigging beastly. It's 3 supply. It's an absolute monster. I cannot wait to see how it plays out as he hosts more tournaments and stuff on this. It's really cool. I don't know what to think of that Ghost. Seems like it's more of an answer to everything than ever, to my dumb eyes. Well, that's a good question, because I also think it's a bit crazy in terms of how powerful it was when I was reading the changes. But the EMP is nowhere near as good. So its old role of just eliminating Storm energy, Viper energy, Infestor energy, completely gone. This is nowhere near as good as the EMP at removing shields either. You really need to sit in it for a long time for it to actually do that much, right? So it's actually incredibly expensive. So the EMP is just way worse. It's just way worse. It's cool that you can zone an army with it. That's awesome. But it is overall a way worse ability, even though you can use it more for zoning, right? That's definitely a thing. Other than that, its snipe is better. Its combat abilities are better. So, the worry is that it's just way too good against Zerg. But because you can just run up and abduct them or neural them or fungal them now without actually just getting EMP'd to death, does that counteract it enough? The fact that they're not as good against spellcasters, does it counter that? I have no idea, guys. I really don't know. They can still interference matrix enemy spellcasters, of course, to lock them down and stop them casting spells, since that does work on psionic units, I believe. Actually, does it work on psionic units, guys? Let's look. Yeah, mechanical or psionic units can be interference matrixed. So you can do that to all spellcasters as well. But yeah, I think it's really cool. Like it's because for me, I was like, oh, make the Ghost more vulnerable, blah blah blah, lower its supply. But I think you do want a bit of damage, and I do like an uncancelable snipe. Though maybe you should reduce the maximum range on it. I'm not sure if he's done that. I know Patches has reduced the maximum range on the snipe. Oh, that big Zealot drop's coming, dude. How is Special not dead? He's just hanging in here, using his storms, hanging out. The hell that's air. They do a lot of damage, guys. They do a lot of damage, but they get cleared too quickly there. Too small of a section. Greenert's got to go for the counter. These prisms are giving him so much trouble. His third base about to get ransacked. He's going to dive in here, but got to watch out for those zoning storms. Remember, energy recharge is not a thing. It does not exist in this version of the game, but you can get Kaidaran Amulet, so those High Templars spawn from the gateways with a storm ready. Remember, there's no warp-ins. He's got to rally out of the gateways. I feel like all of my programming about what should happen is not like what is fair, what's balanced. There's so many things taken into account. The only thing I can do is watch and enjoy right now and go, let's see what the hell happens. Storm comes down. Greenert's army getting cornered. Oh, dude. Dude. GG. Bio Ghost is there. They're getting run down as well, dude. Special doing really well here to just fight back in the scrappy multitasking war. Those Ghosts actually do sick damage to the Archons. Oh my gosh. They actually do good damage to Archons. That's so good, man. They're so good. 3 Ghosts will pick up and save. More units are coming in right now. Uh-oh. Looks like a missed rally kind of for Greenert there. Oh, that's a lot of bio to throw in the meat grinder. This Zealot drop, dude, the fact that he kept not killing the Prism with the Vikings and not chasing it down, I think was the biggest mistake here for Greenert in this game. Widowmines come forward and does get just a couple of probes. Of course, the economy of Special, not great, right? There are still 4 bases up, so even on just 57 workers, I think Greenert's actually got the economic lead. He's building 2 Ravens at a time. I don't know how much these guys cost. Fire suppression system. All buildings will initiate auto repairs when below 50% health, repairing them back to 50% life. Oh, that's cool. Dude, he's got a fire suppression upgrade. That's a thing you can get from the campaign. There's like an upgrade, a tech from the unlock tree that does that. That's awesome. All right. Gotta watch out for the storms. And you know, you don't have an easy answer to these storms without having the old school EMP. It's kind of interesting how this plays out. Zealots coming in, man. These Zealots have the charge. Remember, they get +3 bonus on shields. You really need to have one of those EMPs, those ultrasonic pulses. He throws one down there and another one down because he knows he cannot deal with those rush guard shielded Zealots. But now the shields are mostly gone. Now he can probably deal with it. He's going to try and pull back. He's got Hellbats in there as well, which do massive bonus to shields. Marine Marauder goes trying to hold the line. Interference Matrix is one of the Colossus. It's standing there like an idiot. Oh, it looks like it slows the movement speed as well. Oh, wow. It looks like he changed it to slow the movement speed. Special says WTF GG. That looked like a 50% movement slow, right? Yeah, this is so cool. Dude, I quite like these changes. The Ravens are just repairing the medevacs the whole time. He lands matrices on both of them, though one of them dies before it even does anything. And you can see, yeah, it's 50% slow on the movement speed there, guys. 3.15 minus 1.57. And he does eventually win. I think Special's obviously a bit better in the scrappy situations, being a top pro for so many years versus a kind of competitive GM player. But Greenert ends up getting the win there. We get to see a lot of cool abilities and upgrades in use. All right, guys, we've got Greenert up here in the top left side of the map, Special in the bottom right. And I am so keen to see who wins this series, but also what tools they use on the way there. Keep in mind, yeah, the pylons are what does the recalls. I don't know if we saw Special really use recall that much. The prism with so much cargo space is so interesting because it still can really cause big problems, but because you can't, you know, you have to actually send the units across the map and load it up and send it in, it just feels more like a normal factions drop. Whereas like building units inside your opponent's base always felt super ridiculous. It's it's interesting just to play without WARPGATE because you've still got recall, you've still got good spells. I think the flow is so different. What's the deal with prisms? Yeah, they can still set up a power field, but that would just be to power buildings, you know. I don't think with no WARPGATE, I don't think there's any other reason to have a power field. So yeah, but they have double the transport space, so they're just a very high value dropship, you know. Being able to carry 8 Zealots, 4 Archons or 4 Immortals, you know, it's kind of crazy. Could squeeze 2 Colossi in one. So overall, guys, what are my thoughts on the Ghost? I do think it's probably too good. Reason is, like, it's I think with Interference Matrix, it can counter like Colossus, it can counter tanks. I mean, it has to get in range of the tanks, which is going to be harder than for a Raven, you could argue. Like, it could just feels like that's, and if you can land the Matrix on a Raven or sorry, a Viper and Infestor, it still does shut it down from casting spells. I think that's nowhere near as strong as the EMP was, because I do think you have to get a little closer to cast Interference Matrix, and I think it's a slightly slower projectile, but it's kind of just, it feels like with 7 range, 20 flat damage and stuff, probably a bit too strong. Cool thing is it feeds into the fantasy. Hey, this is actually an elite unit. I'm going to can you guys tell me what the cost is on the mod? Actually, I'll just tab out really quickly and find out one sec. Because has he changed the Ghost? Oh, it does have a light tag, guys. I forgot it had a light tag. Okay, guys, hopping back in game. Okay, apparently the Ghost does have a light tag. I think it's still just its current cost, which I want to say is, I have no idea, 150, 125, 150, 100. Does anyone know what the cost of a Ghost is right now in StarCraft 2? I know it's 150 minerals. I think it's like 100 or 125 gas, but I'm not sure. So it's a pretty expensive unit. But yeah, it's got a light tag in this version, which means Banes will kill it a lot better for Zerg. For Terran, it's going to be more vulnerable against Colossus in TVT, right? Other than Colossus, what else does bonus to light? Adepts, I guess, will kill them a bit faster. There is an upgrade, by the way. You can make it so Adepts can attack air in this version of the game, which is cool. Chat says, yeah, it's 150 minerals, 125 gas, same as a Liberator and Siege Tank. Warp efficiency on the way. Now, guys, remember, warp efficiency just makes your gateways build faster. So for those who don't know, normally a Zealot takes 27 seconds to build, but when you get Warp Gate, you can warp in every 20 seconds. And the cooldown starts the moment you start warping in. So this kind of matches that. Basically, I think you could make it faster, even, potentially, right? You could maybe shave a second or two off. But so far, it seems like it's going A-okay for special. It doesn't feel like it's too bad for him. He's going to play a blink opening off of 2 gates. Big pack of Marines and an early tank building. Very quick second gas for Greenert. I am a little surprised Greenert hasn't tried to mix in like a 3 command center build. Obviously, I think you'd just be turtling for so long, though. Doesn't want to do that. Splitting the Marines is really bad. He hasn't noticed. Otherwise, he would have grouped them up. Luckily, they'll group up before they get to the base. There's a robo building. It's only 3 Stalkers. 3 Stalkers can definitely deal with 9 Marines, but the Marines can push into the probe line. And that's the problem. Greenert's searching for a 3rd base. I think you should go straight for the natural, man. Don't waste any more time. Or go straight home. Looks like he's gonna go over to the other 3rd and then go home. After wasting this much time, he cannot push into the natural. I think shield battery is also removed in this version of the game, guys, which is cool. What's the disruptor change? Oh, the disruptor has an auto attack, guys. So it actually keeps casting its balls. It keeps attacking. He wasted too much time. I hate this attack, guys. I think this is an awful attack. This is really dumb for Greenert. I got to call it how it is. I think he'd agree with me. It makes no sense to dilly-dally at their base for 45 seconds and then just walk in with 9 Marines. I think specials analyses is my analyses. That made no sense. That was a really dumb move. He was like, why don't you have a 3rd? Why don't you have a 3rd? I'm going to throw these Marines away. Greenert himself, I think, would be very embarrassed. He'd be like, why did I click that button? Why did I do that? Just go home, man. Yeah, the disruptor has to actually build its balls, says Patches. Oh, really? Does it? Oh, it has to build. It's basically a Reaver. The disruptor kind of operates like a Reaver, I believe, in this version. Patches build. Patches does do a lot of very special builds, guys. One thing you can be sure of when you're playing Patches is you can't read his play because he doesn't know what he's doing either. It will always be surprising. Robo's mostly idling this game because he wants to go for the Templar Archives. I think after seeing the giant AoE on those storms, Special wants to cast more of that. Concealment's coming in for the Widow Mines. 3rd command center will start at 6 minutes. 3rd Nexus already almost finished for Special. Oh, yeah, bad placement for Greenert. 1 tank just sitting out in the open. Gets a nice freebie. Also catches the Marine Scout. Observer gets in. Sees a very standard bio setup. We are going to see Storm beginning on the Protoss side of the map. I was like, where's he warping in these 4 Stalkers in production? And then I realized. Also, wait, why is he... Did I just see he's building 2 Observers, guys? What am I looking at? Oh, you build Observer out of the Nexus! Oh, it's not out of the Robo. Oh, right. So you have to skip Pro Production if you want Observers. Okay, I see. I didn't realize. I was like, how's he building 2 Observers at once? I'm so confused. Oh, okay. So it's... Okay, Stalkers picking off a tank, picking off some Widow Mines. Good micro for Special. Really good micro. Oh, does get rid of that. How did he get rid of that Observer, guys? I'm so confused. Did he have a scan? Guys, what? Are Observers visible? Was there a scan? I don't know how he killed that Observer. If anyone knows, you guys let me know. Maybe there was the edge of a scan still there? The Observer is decloaked while siege, says chat. What? Really? Oh, wow. I had no idea. So if you want to siege up the observer, it reveals itself. That's crazy. All right. Stalker's trying to pull away. The Bio chasing after it right now. Dude, this is so... Oh, watch out for the storm. No. Greenert. Oh, he just got surrounded. Oh, no. All those Reddit point stalkers. At least the Widowmine kills 2 of them at the tail end. But, dude, savage. I think this game not as good as the previous 2. I think the previous 2 are a bit more competitive. That opening build may be a bit confused there for Greener. +2 attack on the way for special. I'd love to see him get the charge bonus for the Zealots. I think that's an amazing upgrade. You really want to get that. It really forces the Terran to respect the Zealots. But once the shields are gone, they're just as you know, crappy as they always were in big battles. But you need the EMP or the Widow Mines or the fight beforehand. You got to clear those shields. Preferably before the fight starts, once Rush Guard shielding's in. But it looks like Special may have forgotten it this game. He's gone up to 4 bases already. He's got a great economy. Definitely could afford it. Got 76 workers. Stalkers come in. Try to focus down that Marauder. Stalkers do have +1. Ooh, Zealot drop. Turrets are there this time. He's being traumatized, man. Flies into range of the second turret, which means the Prism does go down. Only 2 Zealots get outside. Bit sloppy there. Only 1 Marauder goes back. Looks like he's reset his rally point. How do you reset your rally point, guys? So that your barracks don't rally elsewhere. Is there a way to do that? Is there like a button you can press or something? Because how is it that all of them are just set to themselves? I just realized I have no idea how to do that. Because I always would just change the rally point to like the ground here or something in these situations. Is there a technique? Bio dropping on the left side. Zealots coming in on the right side as well. Big thanks to Aurelius for the sub. Not really, you have to click each one on themselves. So did he actually go through and click each building on themselves? Or did he just never set a rally point like a complete noob? I'm so confused. Oh, here we go. Ooh, the Stalker's coming forwards, chasing it back. Okay, chat's pointed out. Great catch from Senju. What you do is you rally all of them to a Marine, and then you load the Marine into a medevac, which means they lose the rally point. That's how you do it. That's fucking cool, dude. Or you kill the Marine. Wow, very clever. I think I'd have to test it, but I think that works. Guys, you can now carry 8 High Templar for endless storm drops in your Warp Prism. All right, Ghosts are coming out. Let's see how broken Ghosts are. Can Ghost bring him back into this? He's going to need really good ultrasonic pulses in front to drain the Zealots, I think. Zealot numbers coming in. 4th Commandant has just started. Tank is sieging up there. I don't think you can cancel a rally point, Aurelius. Someone wants to go test it. You guys let me know. Here we go. Zealot Stalker coming forward. Watch out for the Storm drop. Oh, Storms are going to zone real nice, man. Great zoning Storms. The Storms, even though it does less damage per second, it still feels pretty effective. He does eat a lot of his own Storm, though, which is kind of hilarious to watch. But here comes more High Templar. Endless Storms, baby. Special. Having a party here. Zealots do take out some of his own units. The Storm does, sorry. I don't think that Ultrasonic Pulse really does too much. Dude, if there was any Storms left over, then it would be a real problem. There we go. Remember, you cannot warp in on the front, though. There's no forward warp-ins. I keep looking at this and thinking he's going to die, but it does take a long time for the Zealots to roll in. It's still so close. He's got to pull back to the Widow Mines. The Widow Mines are going to land some decent shots. Oh, Special with the hot pickups. Special showing that pro gamer micro. Dude, I feel like Greenert's doing a great job of just surviving and hanging in here. Especially smells blood in the water. Like sharks in a feeding frenzy. These Zealots running into the mineral line and going after those SCVs. Does Storm not hurt mechanical? I think it still does, doesn't it? Another Ultrasonic Pulse goes down, draining those shields. Nice, 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 nice. Bio pulling back. Dude, Greener's defense really good here. I think he's dead, but I love how well he's hanging on. Special floating a bit of money as he builds 4 more gateways. He's getting up to 15 gateways. He's got a base here. Does probably need to take another Nexus elsewhere. Special super rich at 86 probes. He never built any armor upgrades, which is kind of crazy. Did he just ultrasonic pulse his own army, guys? I don't know if that works at hitting your own energy. He does interference matrix the prism, which is cute, but not that effective. He walks back into the Storm because he's used to Storm running out sooner than this. Even on his own mod, he keeps saying, oh yeah, Storm should be out, walks back into it, and he's like, oh no. He changed the graphic for personal cloaking, which is amazing. Even though it's the same here, I love that he changed the graphic so it looks different to the Banshee cloak. I think that's one of the dumbest things in StarCraft 2 is they use the same graphic for Banshee cloak and Ghost cloak, which is just silly. You always need to hover over it to see when you're casting which one's being upgraded. Ultrasonic Pulse apparently doesn't affect buildings, guys. He just discovered that. The maker of the mod just discovered that his spell does not remove the shields on those buildings. He tried to EMP the cannons essentially with it, but yeah. Oh no. Oh, that's rough, dude. But do you guys know if Ultrasonic Pulse affects friendly units? I think it was draining his own energy. It just does it at a pretty slow rate. People were saying, does Storm not damage mechanical? You might have been looking at the purple AoE, which is the Ultrasonic Pulse from the... Oh, he gets the High Templar Prism there. Prism gets one shot by Widow Mines, which is kind of cool. But there's just too much Protoss, man. Ultrasonic Pulse did go down. You see, that's the purple Storm is Ultrasonic Pulse, guys. That's the Ghost EMP, essentially. 20 hit points and shields per second. And that's the regular Storm. A bit more blue. Obviously, it's a mod. If you wanted it in the official game, you probably want to make the graphic a little more differentiated. Overall, though, this was fucking cool, dude. I really enjoyed this. Excuse my language there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I do think the Ghost is probably a bit too overtuned. But overall, it's just so cool to watch kind of like Protoss rallying out forwards. Yes, you can get Kaidaran Amulets, so High Templar spawn with Storm Energy, but they've got to rally from the gateways at home. And it creates such a different flow of the gameplay. I would be so curious to see more games on this patch, and I just want to see all these different changes in action. He never got the extra armor for cannon upgrade, by the way, the fortified framework. We didn't really see the pylons using the recall very much, or getting the upgrade to make it so you can use it once every 65 seconds. Yeah, there's a lot of things we didn't really get to see used. The Immortals shoot a bit faster, but they also do more balanced damage, like more versus regular units, not just armored. Archons, I think, have a biological tag, which I guess is just so they take more damage from other Archons. It's interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious to see. We also had Phase Reactor on the way. We never really got to see that. Stalkers restoring 40 shields over 5 seconds. I love this mod. I think this is really cool. I think these games are pretty great. I think, honestly, I keep thinking, like, you know, if you take away Warpgate, it's just going to ruin Protoss. They're so based around it. But you had some cool little upgrades here, like, you know, this Zealot shield charge bonus. You give, you know, a Warpgate type upgrade that lowers the regular build time to be similar. I don't know, man. It just feels like there's some cool ideas here to give Protoss gateway units some more longevity and to give them still power. You've still got recall to position around. Obviously, I need to see a lot more matches to see how it goes. But yeah, Widow Mine's not one-shotting probes and stuff. It kind of feels like just like a very much a fan-made mod where you're like, oh, like 90% of players hate that Widow Mine's one-shot workers. Like, why don't we just make it so they don't do that? But also, they make it impossibly hard to make Widow Mines invisible because you need an armory, then a factory on a tech lab to make an upgrade. When if you're making Widow Mines, you want the factory on the reactor. It's just so unnecessarily complicated and gated to do that. So why not change that? I like a lot of these ideas. I do think the Ghost is probably a bit overtuned, but other than that, I'm super like, hey, I'd be down to try all this stuff. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll catch you guys next time. Goodbye and good night.